Today you have received the full support of the European Parliament for a proposal that you have made. This is quite unusual in the field of trade at this moment. What is this legislation about?
This is a very important piece of legislation. It guarantees that technical items or other items that are exported and that can be used for torture or even death penalty are stopped. So we are making it harder for our products to be used in countries all across the world to torture or even kill the citizens. And that is a very important part of legislation.
How effective do you think this legislation will be?
Well, it's an update of an old legislation because, of course, things happen so quickly. But we have had indications that some of the medical chemicals that has been exported in the past and has been used for lethal injections in executions in some countries, and they are no longer allowed. So that has had an effect on decreased death penalty. And that is, of course, a very important thing. We should not allow European products to be disposed at trade fairs or in catalogues, that products that can be used to torture people. So this is a responsible trade, and I'm so glad that all the three institutions have almost unanimously supported it today.
You're the rapporteur on this new proposal. Well, it's actually an update of an earlier proposal. What changes have you made?
Well, the EU has been leading in raising the bar for human rights through trade policy for a number of years now. And so this builds on earlier work the EU has done. We've now included a ban on advertising, marketing and the sales of goods on EU trade fairs, even if it is between, let's say, a Chinese seller of torture or death penalty goods and a buyer from yet another third country. So we have really looked at what the market in these terrible products looks like and ensured that this is no longer allowed. And the same goes for transport through the EU. It is forbidden for banned goods, and there are extra requirements for assessing for border controls. So we have really increased the level of scrutiny. We've allowed for more flexibility if there are new products that need to be added to the lists that we already work with, and we are looking at more information sharing also with national competent authorities to safeguard the UN treaty for banning torture.
Are you happy with today's vote?
Well, a lot of progress has been made today, so we are very pleased. Any steps towards preventing torture is positive. So what happened today is it will be more difficult for EU companies to profit from human suffering. Like, for instance, it won't be possible to promote weapons in arms fairs. But of course, we remain concerned about some aspects of the regulation, like some EU companies will still be able to provide training in some type of techniques that we consider quite worrying. But overall, it's been positive, and we will be looking into have similar type of regulation at a global level.
Why does this legislation matter to you?
It's the end of a 2-year process under which the EU has overhauled its controls on the security equipment trade and had successfully now closed certain glaring loopholes in the regulation. For example, there are a range of goods that the EU bans the trade of. Things like spiked batons, weighted leg irons, thumb cuffs. And the import and export of such goods from the EU would be banned. But until today, the promotion of those goods in the EU was allowed. And research that we've conducted has shown examples of companies in EU arms fairs promoting prohibited goods. Today's vote closes that loophole.